Welcome to the Daily Allegory through astrological divination. Today we're going to dive through a scope of the scapegoat and a very special doctrine. Today's video is called The Fall of the Tower, The Rise of the Scapegoat. Now the doctrine, follow me here. Now remember, this is just for entertainment purposes only. I'm not in any way, shape, or form inciting violence, but if the story hits home and the shoe fits, you probably want to do the right thing because you might be screwed and be sinking with the Titanic. Now, with this scapegoat in this story, we're going to want to make sure that we're meeting up and briefing each other on the narrative. We're going to create a narrative and fabricate situations. And never have acceptance as a possibility where everything is wrong. Nothing is enough. We need this person to feel as overwhelmed and overburdened and unwelcomed and as weird as humanly possible. Wrong in all ways imaginable. Nothing ever being good enough, correct, or acceptable. We're going to have meetings about this to ensure that this amplifies beyond their immediate vicinity, so people whisper ahead of time so they're automatically attacked everywhere they go. Now, this is going to be a person that we're going to want to strategically, through cold calculation, want to isolate, to get rid of, to basically cover up our crimes that we have committed or are planning on committing, basically to set them up. And they'll take those crimes, hopefully, to the grave with them. We're going to use this opportunity to profit from immensely to pay off any possible old debts we might have or pay off people we might owe. This person's basically going to be a farmed cash cow, but treated like a pig. They're human, but they're not going to be allotted human rights. They're essentially going to be a human slave that we treat like absolute garbage, restricting them by all means possible, coming into ways where we cause conflict and hinder their ability to even survive, feed themselves. Anything humanly possible to cause delay, mayhem, chaos, or intervene in their happiness, well-being, and restrict their ability to make any kind of money, we're going to attack that. And then we're going to pretend that we're doing it for a just cause. Now, visiting the concept of the scapegoat, who was abused and ends up as the master in this story, all part of the Wheel of Destiny, leading to a tower for those who mistreated this individual, switching power dynamics, if you will. Now, for the opening prayer. The stars decree, the covenant demands, in whispers we govern, through the elements we obscure, in static we command, in nightmares we pursue. We are earth and air, we are fire and water, we are the remembered, we are the returned, we are the whispers, in silence we thrive. Now, the first story here takes place in an ancient cliffside monastery of the Order of Perpetual Doctrine. Now, a novice named Lysandra was the eternal scapegoat. Her visions of strange, untamed truths were a source of mockery and derision. Dismissed as a chaotic mind at odds with the Order's rigid dogma, which is today's placement, Jupiter sensitive degree square in Chiron, yet within her a profound wisdom was growing, fed by a strange philosophical revelation of her vivid dreams, being Jupiter trine Neptune in the ninth. Now, this order, a tower of seemingly unshakable tradition, was founded on a great lie. The truth of its origins was a repressed, shameful secret guarded fiercely in the monastery's deepest, most forgotten catacombs, Jupiter sensitive degree trine Lilith in the 12th. Now, Lysandra, through her visions, was beginning to tap into this hidden history. Her only ally was the Order's most senior cleric, Father Julian, a man whose steadfast devotion to tradition was balanced by a keen, unwavering sense of justice, being Jupiter's sensitive degree trine Saturn in the 7th. He saw in Lysandra not a heretic, but a prophet. Their partnership was an unshakable bond in the face of the Order's mounting cruelty. The monastery was built upon a precarious cliffside, overlooking a rolling sea. Now, one night, as a furious storm raged, the head of the order, the Grand Inquisitor Valerius, presided over a purge of unorthodox writings, claiming that they were a source of the order's secret ills, or recent ills. Lysandra, guided by a vision, ran to Father Julian. "The truth is coming for us," she said. "The tower will fall." As Valerius spoke, a great creak echoed through the building. The very foundation of the monastery began to shudder. The tower, a prominent spire on the order's main edifice, was struck by lightning. The bolt, a pillar of divine fury, tore through the structure, exposing not just the hidden catacombs, but the very founding deception of the order itself. The forgotten scriptures, a testament to the wild, unrestrained truth that the founders had feared and buried, laid bare for all to see. The tower of the Order of Perpetual Doctrine collapsed, a physical manifestation of the shattering of their belief system. Valerius and his followers, clinging to the old ways, were destroyed in the collapse. But Lysandra and Father Julian, who had already accepted the impending revelation, survived. In the chaos, as the order's authority crumbled, it was Lysandra who rose from the rumble. The wild, intuitive wisdom that had made her a scapegoat was now the only anchor in the wreckage. Now, the survivors, shocked and stripped of their rigid beliefs, turned to her. The former outcast, the embodiment and the very truth the order had repressed, was now the only one who could guide them. With Father Julian by her side, she rebuilt the monastery, not as a tower of dogma, but as a sanctuary for honest inquiry. The scapegoat, by embracing the divine fury and the revealed truth of the tower, had become the inevitable master. I have a tale of a crown of ashes. Now, in the secluded mountain monastery of Aethelwood, a young apprentice named Alara was the perpetual scapegoat. Burdened by a Jupiter-sensitive degree square Chiron, she bore the weight of every failure and misdeed, her very presence alone seeming to magnify the insecurities of those around her. While her peers saw a clumsy and unlucky girl, her inner world was vast, filled with vibrant spiritual philosophy, Jupiter trine Neptune in the ninth, that she often explored through ancient texts and lucid dreaming. Her life was one of quiet persecution until an old reclusive hermit known as the Master of Forgotten Rites came to the monastery. Now, the Master, wise and disciplined, Jupiter's sensitive degree trine Saturn, saw in Alara not a victim, but a powerful, if misunderstood soul. He offered her a chance to be his apprentice. The rest of the monastery, glad to be rid of her, sent her away without a second glance. Now, under the Master's tutelage, Alara's journey of healing began. The Master recognized her Jupiter-sensitive degree trine Lilith in the 12th as a deep, intuitive connection to the unseen world, a source of wild, untamed wisdom that had been repressed and vilified. He taught her to channel this power not to serve others, but to understand her shadow and the collective unconscious that had made her a pariah. The years of being wounded through Chiron by a community that projected its fears onto her had prepared her for this work, teaching her empathy for those who felt exiled and alone. Eventually, the old master passed away, and Alara, now a master herself, returned to the monastery. The very place was in ruin, its traditions having crumbled under the weight of their very flaws they had once projected onto her. Alara, the former scapegoat, used her combined wisdom, the disciplined structure learned from her old master, the visionary insight from her dreams, and the raw, untamed power of her own exiled nature to rebuild it from the ground up. She became the very foundation upon which a new, honest, and truly compassionate community was built, proving that the deepest wounds can become the source of one's greatest power. The master she was meant to be was not an identity she earned, but an inevitability she embodied when she accepted the truth and transformed her pain into wisdom. I have the master of broken foundations. Now, in the hallowed halls of the Arcadian Institute for Metaphysical Arts, a scholar named Eris was the perpetual scapegoat. His colleagues, All rational and orderly practitioners saw his mind as a chaotic mess, a repository of vivid but seemingly nonsensical dreams, and fascination with forbidden knowledge, being Jupiter trine Neptune in the 9th, and Jupiter sensitive degree trine Lilith in the 12th. They blamed him for lost research, for strange omens, and for any intellectual discomfort that disrupted the rigid order, being Jupiter's sensitive degree in Chiron. Eris had only one ally, the Institute's aging and deeply conservative librarian, a man named Silas. Though Silas initially disapproved of Eris's methods, he was a staunch believer in justice and tradition. He was also a widower, and in Eris, he saw the potential for a partnership that honored both the old ways and the new, being Jupiter sensitive degree trine Saturn in the 7th. A cataclysm struck the Institute when a plague of intellectual rust began to erase the knowledge from its vast archives. The scholars, terrified, doubled down on their logic, only to watch their most prized manuscripts turn to dust. Eris, meanwhile, started having intensely lucid dreams about an exiled, vengeful spirit haunting the library's hidden, forgotten section, connected in the 5th. This spirit, a manifestation of the Institute's own collective shadow, an egregore, or servitor, Jupiter 7th, sensitive degree trine Lilith in the 12th, had been bound and silenced by the founders long ago. With Silas's pragmatic guidance and logical support, Eris embarked on a quest through the labyrinth depths of the library. They were a perfect team. Silas provided the structure and the ancient keys, while Eris provided the visionary insight that only a true dreamer could possess. Eris found a long-forgotten grimoire that contained the history of the exiled spirits, a tale of a gifted, intuitive founder who had been casted out. Now, the climax comes in the deepest archive, where the intellectual rust was the most potent. Eris confronted the spirit not with logic or power, but with empathy, acknowledging the injustice that had been done to it. He embraced the wild, banished knowledge that it represented, allowing it to integrate within his own consciousness. This act of acceptance of healing the wound that had haunted the institution for centuries halted the rust and restored the archives. The Institute was saved, but its old order was irrevocably changed. The scholars, humbled and horrified by their arrogance, turned to Eris for guidance. The scapegoat, by embracing his exiled nature and confronting the shadow of the collective, became the very master that they sought out for wisdom. With Silas as his trusted colleague, Eris established a new curriculum that honored both logic and intuition, ensuring that the institution would never again cast out the very people needed for its absolute survival. That's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you found it entertaining. Apply the message within where needed.